Hi, Louise. Thank you so much for joining the UK AI Women in AI podcast with me, Zara. I would love for you to introduce yourself to the
Yep.
people listening and watching.
Great. Hi, Zara. Great to be here and to chat to you about kind of my route into AI, which possibly I think I'll start off with calling myself a relatively unlikely AI founder, or that's how I think I've been perceived over the first few years of working in this space. So I'm going to give you a quick background into me, first of all, and my career to date, and then a little bit how I got into AI and why I think that the skills that I have kind of all blended together to make kind of the perfect mix right now. So my background is actually in communications. So I've worked in communications in financial services for 30 years now. So working in helping companies to work out exactly how they want to communicate to the market. So in financial terms, also in reputation management, strategic communications. And I actually had my first company I founded that in 2003. And sold that then in 2009 to a big PLC, one of the big communications PLCs at the time, and went to go and work for one of their agencies. So that was kind of like how all my life has all been about communication. And then after I'd sold the business, I had 3 children at that point, and I was like, I actually need some time out to focus on them, because it is very difficult working in certain areas of fields of work that really require you to be on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And that's what my job really required of me, and also to spend the time that I wanted to spend bringing up my kids. And I was living outside London at the time, and genuinely the logistics were just very difficult. So getting into town in time, having to have a nanny come to the house, her to drive the children to school, and I was getting home at 7, 8 o'clock by the time they'd gone to bed. And I realized that wasn't how I wanted to live my life, and I wasn't going to bend to that. So I decided to go back out on my own and to continue to freelance. And I think that's relevant because I think a lot of what we talk about with AI, and I'll come on to the AI bit in a minute, is about the future of work. It's not just about AI. It's about a lot of the big trends that are coming into the workplace right now. And I seem to blend a few of them. So one of them is demographic shifts, because I am older, and I was older then, 10 years later, when I decided I wanted to come back into the workplace more formally. I came up against well, you're in your 50s now. What do you have to offer? I had been still continuing to work and to work in communications as a freelancer for the 10 years in between. But actually, that wasn't full-time work, so it wasn't really counted. Even though I was, advising private equity firms on their communication strategy. So I then met up with Mackenzie, who's my co-founder, back in 2022, 23, when I was looking to come back into work, finding it quite hard to find my place, trying to understand what it is that I wanted to do. And I know I mirror a lot of other women who are in the same position as me, particularly if they've slightly been forced to take their foot off the pedal, because they can't conveniently get into work and out again very easily. So we met up, and she and I had first crossed paths back in 2008, 2009, when she had been working for one of my PR clients. So I had the PR agency, and she was working at one of the clients. And we'd stayed in touch over LinkedIn. And in that coffee, and I can still remember it well, she was talking a lot about the future of work and the value of people at work, which is what her MA, she'd just done an MA, had been in, and how do people bring skills to the workplace. And I was talking about it from the perspective that I knew I had skills to bring back to the workplace. They were different skills than perhaps the skills I'd left with, but they were just as valuable. And we realized that this was just a manifestation of these trends that are coming and hitting a lot of us at the moment. And we kind of lumped them all together to see how they were fitting to us. So, one of them is AI. One of them is demographic shifts. Another one is how the workplace has changed since COVID, and the kind of the flexible work and how technology can help that. And it was at that point we both also realized we both loved ChatGPT. And I had been introduced to ChatGPT by my 15-year-old son at the time in 2022. And I remember looking at it thinking, not what an amazing tool and what it can do, but how is this the most incredible communications tool? And having spent 30 years in communications, I was like, you get the best out of it when you communicate well. It has nothing to do with tech. In many ways, my lack of understanding of deep tech was the benefit that I had when dealing with that very nascent level of ChatGPT. So that passion became, or that kind of curiosity became quite a passion. And the same had happened with Mackenzie. And we both realized that through our possibly slightly neuro spicy brains, that we were seeing things and seeing patterns in the world of AI and how AI could be useful beyond the traditional technology view of it as it was at the time. And actually, in the conversations we started having with clients as we started coming up with the idea of Athene, was how are people actually learning how to leverage AI? So that's kind of my journey in a nutshell, which was how I came from communications, teaming up with Mackenzie, who's a human capital economist, and looking at the world from a future of work perspective, and looking at the fact that we see and still see AI as a tool which isn't automatically going to get picked up by many people just like that. And that's exactly what has happened. And so what we predicted 2 years ago is absolutely coming true today, which is you can hand out and give access to people and give them ChatGPT or Claude or whatever. But actually, for them to bring any value from it, they need individual support of how it fits their workflow and the use cases that they can use. And that's exactly how we built Athene. So we've built it to help people, help companies predominantly. We go into companies and we help them figure out exactly how it can help them. And then we're building a platform tool as well that will do that in a using AI type of way. But the fundamentals are the same of what we're doing, which is saying, you think you might be using AI, but probably like many people, you are only scratching the surface of we're talking generative AI. And actually, when we show you what you could do, and I've just come out of a workshop just now, there is a massive aha moment. And you get everybody saying, oh my goodness, I had no idea it could do that. I had no idea that it could completely copy my voice. I had no idea that I could get through research reports and summarize stuff that I didn't know, and find information. I didn't know I could get it to challenge me the way that it challenged me. I didn't know that I could do this, because 65% of people or more just use it as Google search. They use it as Google search, and they use it to summarize a few emails, to do jobs that they currently do a bit faster. And so what we do with Athene is we take them on the journey of like, look at yourself as someone who's not just doing the job you've always done a bit faster, but how could you do that job in a fundamentally different way if you employ AI in the right type of way? So that's the journey we've had. And actually my skills that I've had from communication, hers from I've run my own business before, I've employed people, I'm a systems thinker, so I can see how the dots connect, is how we have created a space. And I think we're quite unique in what we're doing. We're not teaching prompt engineering. We're not teaching the technology of it. We are helping teams to work out how they can actually leverage AI in their specific roles and in their specific workflows. And it's working. And that is much less to do with the technology under the bonnet and much more to do with how we teach people to change their mindset and to see AI as something a bit different. So that's been my journey. So we've had now Athene since, I think the end of 2023, we set up formally. So we've just had 2 years, and we have, a bunch of clients now that are working with us. Increasingly larger names are coming to us to ask us for our help, because they're realizing that they may have thousands of people with access to ChatGPT or Copilot or Claude, but the actual return on investment they're getting at the moment is zero or very small, because no one has taken it beyond surface level. So that's what we're all about, is take it to the next level.
Mm-hmm. What would you say were the key challenges that you faced, and how did you overcome those challenges?
So I think one of the challenge, well, there's several challenges, lots of challenges. I think one of the big challenges has been, and I'm going to be honest because this is a Women in AI podcast, is there is a narrative which says if you're in AI, you're a bloke, you're in your mid 30s, and you've had a PhD or you've studied data, and you know that. And so therefore it's been fascinating watching conversations that we have with people where they ask those questions. First of all, where's your PhD in AI? Have you done this? And then they realize, once we demonstrate how little technology we actually, in fact, technology, understanding the technology is the last thing that we need to be able to do in the job that we're doing, because we are taking exactly that technology that you have right now to apply it to a specific workflow. And and understanding how you iterate with a prompt. How do you work out what it can do, what it can't do? Where is your imagination? How do you work with a GPTs with your teams? What sort of information do you use SharePoint to go and get your information from it? So I think a big challenge, first off, has been two women. I'm in my mid 50s, being taken kind of like, oh, they're onto something. The second challenge is we have been early in this space. So we have had more raised eyebrows than you can shake a stick at, of people going, nah, people are just going to get this. Or ChatGPT will have a better interface, or it will be able to teach you. But the point is no, even the better it gets doesn't mean more people are actually actively using more depth. There are more user numbers, and there's a few people who talk about the same stuff as us, mostly in the States. Just having that access, and you can be a CEO standing up going, saying, we've got 40,000 people using ChatGPT. Well, unless they're using it to really change anything, that isn't really making much difference. So I think that so we feel the zeitgeist is coming with us right now. So that's the second challenge, which is we were recognizing a problem earlier, before most people were seeing it. But now we're getting calls every day from companies who are saying, we've rolled it out, we've handed it out, we've got all our data in place, we know everything that's working, but it's just not, we're not seeing any changes. People aren't changing the way that they work. They're still doing the manual processes. If they're doing research in the morning for a client, they're still doing it the same way, because they do it with AI and then they come back and say, oh, it's not very good, because they haven't learned how to set up their AI in a way that makes it good. So, or the data that they've got isn't quite right. So we partner with others to sort out data if required. But actually, AI requires more than just good data. It requires your own judgment. It requires your judgment of being able to analyze outputs, being able to iterate outputs, and be able to be creative with how you use it. Knowing what good looks like is really important. So that's the second one. And I think the third challenge is like any small startup. You are managing cash flow, you are managing clients, you are jack of all trades. It suits me. That's the way that I work. I haven't worked formally in working for an organization since 2003 when I set up. Yes, I did for a couple of years when I worked for the PR agency, but I love working for myself. That is absolutely gives me, and Mackenzie and I are a great blend of skills. So that works really, really well. So I think, that's the same challenge. We have now raised some funding. So that has changed. People are starting to recognize that what we're onto is actually really a big problem, and it does need to be solved. So we like to see ourselves as category creators. We have created this kind of AI capability category, which is that you need to know more than simply giving someone the tool. That doesn't unlock the power of the Ferrari. And we love to use those kind of analogies, that handing someone ChatGPT is like handing them the keys to a Ferrari and asking them to go to a race. At the moment, everyone's just going to the shops. That's as far as they go, or out of the parking lot. But they're not, they don't really know what they don't really know. So that's the bit that we're helping companies to challenge and to figure out and to unlock.
Are there any current or future projects that you'd like to share?
Yeah, so one of the projects that we're working on is, so when we first started doing the consulting for this, we used to sit down with people in workshops and then sit down with them often individually. So we realized that very quickly that that isn't a scalable business. You can't put Louise and Mackenzie in multiple businesses at multiple the same amount of time. So at that point, we decided to build Atheni.ai, which has been through its MVP status. So we built a tool in order to kind of almost replicate us. So what that did was build, using AI, was to be able to find out something from the user, or to be able to find out a little bit about their job, their workflow, and then to be able to help them target exactly what sort of use cases might be useful for them, exactly what skills might be useful for them, and exactly what tools might be useful for them. Because actually, we know from all the research out there that if you can have all those three things working well, that's when you start to get AI capability. You need the right skills, and that's different skills than you possibly have in your workplace right now. You need the right use cases to make sure whatever you're asking it is going to be useful to you, and you need the right tools. So ChatGPT isn't doesn't do the best job for everyone. If you're in marketing, you need more specific marketing tools. If you're in finance, you want something more specifically financial. So there, this view that one AI will do everyone's job for everyone, as we know from looking at the limitations of some of them, Copilot doesn't, is actually, to become truly AI literate, a master of AI, you need to be able to have those three-legged stools together. So you need your skills, your tools, and your use cases. Mm-hmm. So we started to build that, and that was successful. We had clients for that, and actually on this current level of funding now is to turn that into the Rolls-Royce version, which basically sits on people's desktops and helps them to, basically is like a personal AI coach that helps them figure out exactly how they could be using whatever they have and how they could be using it and how to take them up the level. So that's quite exciting, because that is a hugely scalable business. And there are many businesses right now that are asking us for that. So yeah, that's probably our most exciting project right now. But human to human is very important in all of this. And I think you probably agree that actually in a world of AI, the human to human is definitely going to become even more important. So actually what we're finding is the skills that we're helping companies through and I was a teacher as well once, our communication, basically our workshops, which are sort of showing, not telling, and they're very specific to their workflow, blends really well with the tool that we can then leave with them to be able to continue that. So that's probably our most exciting project right now, is building out an AI tool, which, as Jensen Huang said, it's domain knowledge that is unlocked with AI. You don't need to know how to code any longer. You need to know, your domain, and we know our domain extremely well because we've been doing it for a long time. So we know how change happens. We know how people move their behavior along, and that's exactly what we're doing with Atheni.ai.
Mm-hmm. Where do you guys see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years?
World domination, obviously. No, we'd like to stand for a completely different type of business, right? We are remote first. We employ a mixture of different people who are mostly on portfolio careers. So we believe that there is a future where your knowledge is what's powerful, enhanced with AI. So we would like to see Apple using our AI coaching tool, because they realize that actually all of their engineers could do with being up to speed with the latest and the newest, and it's quite difficult to filter it all out. So we believe that we, as two females in a very male-dominated area, certainly where ageism is definitely still a part, and we know that women only raise 2% of funding, and it's much less of that in the world of AI. So we would like to see ourselves as kind of like trailblazers in this space. And part of this goes back to the motivation when I first started Athene with Mackenzie. It was after I'd read a book called Playing Big by Tara Moore. It's American author. But what she really said to me in that book was, you can do anything, right? You just have to have the confidence to go out and do it. And I suddenly gathered myself up, and I'd been ill. I'd had breast cancer in 2022 and a melanoma. And I said to myself, either I continue on a decline now, or I come out and I realize I bring all that experience I've had in my life, not just my life, my career, everything put together, and I throw this into Athene. And that's exactly what we have both done. And so we see that there is no limit to this. People might not have believed in us in the beginning, but this will become the standout tool that everybody uses in order to get up the AI curve. And for a long time yet, and you've seen how this works in business, this isn't a scenario of AI doing all the jobs. You still need human input. You still need human judgment. And until we have artificial general intelligence, which we don't know when that is, we're going to need that for a while, because of all those use cases that don't follow a pattern, that don't follow, a kind of a way to do a job. And much of business is messy like that. It's a bit knotty. It's not all just following something. So AI can help right now, and it can do some intrinsic processes very well, but it won't be doing absolutely everything for a little while yet. So we need people to be learning how to use it well, to be able to be on that journey as far as they can be.
Mm-hmm. You had the courage to follow your dream.
Yeah, I think that's true. And I think I thought, you know what, just because I'm in my 50s doesn't mean I can't still, get up and get out there. And that's that longevity argument as well, which we have this viewpoint in the Western world, which is, well, I think it's probably across the whole world, although I think a lot of cultures appreciate older people more than our culture does in the UK. But that, that you retire at 65, or you retire, and you start kind of like moving downhill, when actually, if you look at your life in 4 quarters, then then you can start an entirely new career in your 50s and take it through to 75. My father is 90 and still working, and I expect to be exactly the same. So I think it's a mindset shift in lots of areas that we need to make as a country. I see UK AI as a very much important part of this. And how do we help people to understand the power of AI for good, being careful of all of its problems, but also we are in a position to shape this. We can do this, but we have to be involved. And that's what I got to, is like, if I want to be involved in shaping this, I have to speak up and not be worried about my own personal, oh, can I say this? Can I not say this? No, we need people to stand up. And as many women who are really good at understanding the strengths and weaknesses of AI, because they are often systems thinkers and they see across processes. We need lots more women coming to do this. So yeah, we're following our dreams.
Mm-hmm.
Big company, it's incoming.
What advice would you offer to other ladies who wanted to follow in, pursue a similar path to yourself?
To say to yourself, there is no limit. Okay, what AI does, and I think this is what's misunderstood, is that it allows you a learning space that we have never had access to before. You only have to know how to ask the right question. You can teach yourself anything with AI. You can teach yourself, you can open your world with different AIs, and not to see it as a tool on its own, but to see it as a whole new space that allows you to, put yourself into different personas, to teach yourself different skills. If you want to learn a certain skill, I have one, I'm learning a bit of Italian. It's talking to me in Italian every day. Yeah. Because I can train it to be what I want. AI is like a piece of clay. And if we mold it to how we want it to be, personally and within organizations, then it does what we want it to do. It isn't a standalone thing. So I think my advice for anyone is like, believe that what you have is enough. Your level of judgment, your experience in the world is enough to take and to help use AI to help you to get the next stage. So basic AI literacy and understanding how AI works well, and what the difference is between using it well, which is beautiful written work, which is reflecting you, and using it badly, which is just getting AI to generate something really bad, there is a big difference. There's a chasm between those two things. So I think for everyone to have a viewpoint is that you can do anything you want. You just have to believe in yourself. And I know that sounds easy because 3 years ago, I sat there, I joined a group of women on a Monday evening because I had no confidence left any longer, right? I had 10 years out of the workplace and I didn't think I had any value to coming back in. And they taught me that I did. And it was thanks to their launch pad. It's called Mission Accepted, Susie, that I realized that actually I did. So I think a lot of it is to do with self-belief and that you have something to offer. And everyone has something to offer in whatever scope it is. And AI allows you to unlock it much more than anything else has ever done before.
Mm-hmm. Um, how can people reach out to you if they, have questions or?
Yes, please. I would love anyone, I'm very happy to help and give advice as well. So via LinkedIn, I'm always contactable. Via Athene, I'm super contactable. We're a small team. And if I can't help, then I can hopefully find someone else who can help. But I believe that we are about to see it's taking a long time coming, but we are about to see a big shift over the course of the next 2 years in what AI starts to properly do for people when they start to understand that you need more than a set of keys to take it to the racetrack. You need a set of keys and a driver's manual, and you need people on your side. And then that way, AI can unlock so much stuff. So that's what I'm excited about. And I'm really loving doing that for companies as well. And those people that recognize that they don't know what they don't know and that the opportunity is there just because they think they know AI means that perhaps, there is more depth to be able to really leverage it in their teams. And that's really exciting work for us, is seeing that aha moment run through a team and everyone go, right, we could set this up, we could set up as, how do we do this? This could be this could be that. Because as you probably have seen as well, that isn't an automatic. How many people have set up a custom GPT? How many people have built an automation? All of which is done with English. You don't need to be a techie. So if I can help people, anyone, with that mindset shift, then I'm very happy to do that.
Thank you so much, Louise. It's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you, and thank you for joining us today.
Oh, thank you. I've really enjoyed it. Thanks, Zara, and UKAI.